The January title update for Madden 23 is finally here. We've got a bunch of gameplay updates, we've got some Ultimate Team updates, we've got some news on franchise mode, we've got more player likeness, and more. We also got some information on some of the issues that are still currently affecting the game to go over as well. And as always, if you're new to the channel and you don't want to miss out on any of these important update videos for Madden 23 or the Madden 24 news that will be dropping soon, make sure to subscribe and turn the bell icon on. Now today also kicks off Season 3 of Madden 23. As many of you might know, they do season releases now throughout the year. Mostly this has to do with Ultimate Team stuff, but that is also a part of today's update. But the big thing we need to talk about today is gameplay, because we've been waiting for a lot of gameplay tuning, balancing, and even fixing in some areas. We've been waiting all year for them to balance the meta a little bit better, and this was supposed to be the update that they were going to do that, and they did it a little bit, but not nearly enough in my opinion. Let's take a look at some of the gameplay updates. They fixed an issue causing the ball to be in the wrong hand on some first down celebrations and some touchdown celebrations. They also fixed an issue causing a defensive pre-play fidget animation to move a defender into the neutral zone and cause an offside penalty at the snap. Two things that have kind of been a problem for a while. I feel like the celebration and first down thing has been an issue for multiple years now. It's just something I've almost gotten used to at this point, so it looks like they finally cleaned that up. And the offside penalty thing is always kind of affecting the game one way or another. It's good that they finally fixed it, at least it looks that way, but I feel like this is an issue every single year at one point or another. Here's a big one: tuning the angles and distances at which oncoming defenders will be detected as applying pressure on the QB during the throw. The tuning done to pressure detection is with the intent of decreasing the likelihood of getting an under pressure and accurate pass when attempting to throw the ball quickly versus a blitz. Now this is honestly a much needed fix and a huge thing that they have finally tuned. Ever since they've put the pressure and accurate penalties in the game, it's been more bad than good. Don't get me wrong, I understand what they were trying to do with it. They're trying to simulate a QB being under pressure and he might throw some bad passes or not throw the most accurate pass if he's got a defender closing in on him. He might get happy feet, he might get trigger happy. That's all fine and well. The biggest issue with this, and we've seen it this year more than any previous year, is versus the blitz. Versus a blitz, you're supposed to throw quick, you're supposed to throw hot. That's what's taught. You need to get rid of the ball quickly versus a blitz. And this year being such a blitz heavy year, and it's been something that still has not really been tuned or addressed nearly enough. The heat has been crazy all year, which means throwing the ball quickly versus a blitz has not been as good as it should be, because they give you way too many inaccurate penalties, which will have the ball flying 10 yards over a receiver's head and getting intercepted. So this was a much needed fix. Here's another big one: tuning to reduce catch chance for non-ability receivers attempting aggressive catches in traffic. This tuning is meant to decrease the frequency of successful aggressive catches in traffic when using receivers without aggressive catch abilities. So we know this year aggressive catching has been pretty OP, which I haven't minded too much because of how OP the blitzing has been as well. If you're leaving people one-on-one and sending heavy blitzes, I'm okay with the 50-50 ball, but it says here that they mainly tuned it for receivers who don't have abilities, which I don't think is going to make that big of a difference, because where this is the biggest problem is of course Ultimate Team, because you can get all the best and tallest receivers and put abilities on them. But the problem is in Ultimate Team there's a ton of discounted abilities that you can put on your receivers, like the deep out elite, like red zone threat, which is what people use when they want to aggressive catch. So I don't think anybody that's aggressive catching consistently is not putting these abilities on their receivers, because it just doesn't make sense not to. So I don't know how much this is going to truly help, but it sounds like non-ability receivers are not going to win the 50-50 balls as much as they had been before. And really quickly before we continue, I do want to let you know that we are still sponsored by Underdog Fantasy. They have a very fun pick'em game on their site that allows you to win some real money, and with the NFL playoffs coming up this weekend, this is a great time to try it out for yourself. You can take a QB like Kirk Cousins, and if you think he's going to go over his passing yards, you can go higher. If you think he's going to go lower, you can select lower, and then you can pair that with a running back or a receiver to get a certain amount of yards, catches, or touchdowns, and if they hit, you win some real money. And I have a code for you that's going to also give you some free money to play with. The code is RAY, R-A-Y, and if you use this at sign up, they will double your first deposit up to $100. So you can't complain about free money. You can't turn down free money. Continuing on here, they did some tuning to reduce the catch chances for defenders attempting to catch the throw out of sack passes behind the line of scrimmage, and they fixed an issue that was heavily penalizing defenders when attempting to catch tip passes in traffic. Defenders' catch chance is globally reduced when considered to be in traffic to reflect the difficulties of securing a catch alongside other players. This change will reduce the amount of penalty applied when the ball has already been tipped or knocked up into the air to give a defender a better chance at intercepting tip balls. These these are two really good changes as well. The defensive line picking off passes behind the line of scrimmage is way too high in this game, and it happens so often because the throw out of sack passes are very common. If you try to throw while you're getting sacked, a lot of times the ball just kind of floats there in the air for a second behind the line of scrimmage, goes right to a defensive tackle or something, and they intercept the ball almost every time, which we know defensive linemen don't typically catch interceptions in real life, and they catch them a ton in Madden, so that's a good fix. And as far as the other defenders, like the secondary players not catching tipped interceptions, that's also been a problem this year, and another reason why aggressive catches have been so powerful, because even if you double team somebody and you knock the ball loose, the other defender would just not catch the tipped interception, and tipped picks are the easiest ones to catch in real life, so it's good that they made this fix. They also fixed a rare issue leading to an incorrect spotting of the ball when a player would perform a standing celebration following an interception, and of course they did some general stability improvements, which this game needs a lot more than general stability improvements at this point. It needs a lot of stability improvements. In fact, today when this update first launched, people couldn't get into the game. Once again, when this update went live, people couldn't get into the game for like an hour, which it's kind of just funny at this point because now we've just come to expect it. Every time there's a new update or a new anything this year, we expect there to be problems. Now, luckily they did get it fixed in about an hour. It didn't drag on too long, but it's just funny that no matter how many stability improvements, no matter how many server updates they make to this game, there's still problems with logging in, getting kicked out every single week with this game. Face of the franchise update. They fixed an issue preventing the Player of the Week legacy goal from completing correctly after winning the Player of the Week award, and they also fixed a typo in the name of the shot play concept drill side activity. Nothing crazy here, just some little minor bugs. Franchise mode. I know a lot of people are still waiting to hear what's going on with franchise mode. A lot of people still have not been able to get in and recover their leagues. It said our team is continuing to work on the franchise cloud save issue from 12/28 alongside this title update. Further analysis has determined that this issue affected around 2% of all leagues created since launch. Our team has made progress on restoring backups, and we are targeting early next week to restore the leagues that could be recovered. However, the current recommendation is for players to start a new league, as not all leagues will be recoverable. So a few things here. Number one, this has been an issue now for a few weeks and it's still not fixed. They're targeting next week to get it fixed, but it's just been a very long time for people to not be able to get into their franchise. Another thing here, only 2% of leagues affected, which does sound good. At least it is a low number, but you have to think there's a ton of leagues that have been created since launch that are no longer active. People have started tons of leagues and have put the game down. People start a bunch of leagues to test things out. I know I do that after updates. I go in, I try to test some things out. So there's a ton of leagues that are just inactive in general. And of those 2% of the affected leagues, they estimated that only 40% would be recovered. So that 40% still waiting. A lot of people don't know if their league's gonna actually be recovered or not, and it looks like they're gonna have to wait till next week to find out. As far as the Play Now Live update, it says our franchise team has added an additional starting point of week 17 for players starting new franchises via the Play Now Live option. This update will go live via a server-side update around the title update. There's also previously scheduled wildcard update coming next week. So a lot of people have still been asking about the Play Now Live. They don't update it every week anymore. I don't know why they even still have the feature if they're not going to update it every week. It just seems kind of pointless to me, but it looks like they've added a new starting point of week 17, probably because they know so many people lost their leagues that they're trying to get people to maybe play the mode and start a new one kind of at the postseason. Maybe, I don't know. I'm assuming that's why they're doing it, because I don't think initially they were going to do a week 17. They were only going to do a wild card weekend, which would be next week. So if you want to start a new league, you can start at week 17. But again, like I said in a previous video, I'm not really sure if most people want to start new leagues at this point, because there's no confidence that they'll be able to play it for more than a couple weeks without losing it again. So I don't know. If you want to start a new league, you can start now at week 17. We also got some new face scans in the game. Some new rookies have been added to the game. Not as many in this update as the previous updates, but we do have a few. We've got Jaquan Brisker from the Bears, nice young rookie safety. He's looked pretty solid this year. I know people have been asking for his likeness in the game. He's definitely one of those young guys the Bears took that is looking to be paying off, and definitely going to be probably somebody that's going to be there for a while, and he's now finally in Madden 23. We've also got Sky Moore of the Chiefs, another rookie receiver. He hasn't really played a ton this year. He looked really good in camp, and I think even in preseason a little bit. I think a lot of people thought he might have a bigger role this year, but he hasn't really been playing a ton, but his likeness is now in Madden 23. We've also got Tyquan Thornton of the Patriots, the speedy rookie receiver. I'm not sure how much he's been playing this year. I know he's definitely been playing a little bit, but his likeness is now in the game. I saw a lot lot of Patriots fans asking for him to be put in the game. He's finally here. We've also got Desmond Ridder. This is another one that's been asked of a lot. The QBs are always typically asked about the most, and I think he was one of the few, if maybe the only, bigger name rookie QBs who still wasn't in the game. But I don't know, something looks a little off about him. I'm usually on board with a lot of the face scans. I think most of them look pretty accurate. Something just seems a little off about his. I don't feel like his looks as good as some of the others. Let me know, maybe I'm tripping, but it just, something seems off. We've also got Brian Asamoah, the Vikings linebacker. His likeness is also now in the game. Don't really know much about this guy, to be honest. I'm not sure how much he's been playing, but they got his likeness in the game for the Vikings. And we also have James Cook, the running back for the Bills. Now, I'm not sure why they didn't give him the proper hair scan. As you saw, all the previous guys, they've got kind of like the new next gen hair that looks more realistic, which I think they do scan the hair now for a lot of these players. So I'm not sure why they didn't do it for James Cook, because he did it for all the previous people we showed. He still kind of has like the old last gen generic dreadlocks, which looks just kind of weird once you see the new hair, but his face is now in the game. We also got some new equipment added to the game. Not much. We got some new cleats. We didn't get the helmets that we have been asking for. I'm not sure what's going on with those, but we did get the Nike Alpha Menace Pro 3 cleats, which I think look pretty sick. I'm not usually a huge fan of the Nike cleats. I'm more of a Jordan cleat guy, but these look pretty clean. I definitely think these are one of the better looking ones in the game. And I know this didn't come with this update. I think this came recently, but they never officially mentioned the Jordan 1 low cleat being in the game. They never mentioned this in any of the title updates. I went back and looked, and I just noticed them for the first time, but I think these might have been in the game for maybe the past month, but they have not actually mentioned anything about them. So for people that didn't know, they actually do have Jordan 1 low cleats in the game. They always had the highs, but now they do have the lows as well. Now with the playoffs starting this weekend, I actually did a playoff prediction video trying to predict who would go all the way and win the Super Bowl. So make sure you check that video out right here on the screen and let me know what you think.